Hello, this is Matthew. You said a GAI, Gen A architecture. This company was in Africa, LLM prompts, and the business needs this for RAG and business growth and stuff like that. So here's what we're going to do in Gen AI Python code talk. Here's the next step. This company was a city taxi for Gen AI, an initiative in Africa leveraged generative AI and RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation, to optimize taxi routes for delivering to people that needs lifts in, taxi stuff. So it's really good because they didn't have this before. So the clusters we made for customer behavior and enhance the overall customer experience. It worked out pretty good. We utilized advanced generative architecture. The project integrates on GDP for talking with people, conversational, and then we tested it with fine-tuning LLMs to provide real-time assistance. This is for the passengers and the drivers to be uh, coordinated together. This was an initiative to grow loyalty and branding to make sure that the customer trusts on major smart city solutions. Challenge was to design an innovative Gen A RAG LLM prompt to leverage buyer confidence for growth. Gen AI RAG Smart City Prompts. Here's what we did. This company, it's a hard one to pronounce, but it's French. Asarfi. It's a taxi innovated in Africa, harness Gen AI and RAG to optimize routes, I said before. So this is the same thing. We built these customer behaviors by clustering them and enhance service delivery, leveraging multi LLM integration and fine tuning dynamic routing for drivers and taxis, and targeted improvements in advanced customer support for customer-wide cities. The keys that we work with: dynamic route optimization, RAG retrieval systems. It determined the most efficient taxi routes based on traffic and demand. And so we put a demand cluster to get those traffic routes in there and real-time data to get accurate routes for taxi providers to reach customers on time. Cluster customers would be in clusters, and then we identify patterns in customer behavior based on Africa cities, traffic, weather, enabling targeted improvements and resource allocation for taxi. Gen AI, GDP, Meta, Palm prompts. Meta Palm are pretty easy to work with. It's one of the best ones I worked with. So, we got this to, get on this initiative in Africa for AI and RAG and optimize the routes. Then we did the cluster customer behavior that I was talking about. This helped out with service delivery across the city. And we used the generative AI architecture to employ GDP4 prompts and efficiency taxi routes and support, integrated GDP with Meta Llama and Google Palm for diverse conversational GP needs and conversational and agent talks, fine-tuned models with RLHF, and also LoRa and Perf. And we'll explain what those are later. So we had generative AI design GDP prompts. This is agent prompts, one shot, zero shot for many of the customer supporting taxis. And we have multi LLM integration, blend GDP, Meta Llama, Google Palm for diverse conversational capabilities in GDPs. Fine-tuned leader was, the reinforcement, human features, and LoRa low rate application adaptation, and perf, which is a parameter efficient time fine tuning. This was to tailor LLM models for what we have is this traffic and customer use cases. Here we have Gen AI RAG prompts fine tuning. So we started off with a Gen AI pinecone vector for taxi route data. So we set up the pinecone, initiated. You have to get your API key and your environment set up and index. Then we index the taxi route data. And then we queried the taxi routes and customer clusters, basically doing a taxi embedded function, real-time data traffic, customer hotspots, and then the taxi uh, work on the index. And this was very good to make sure that the index was working, and this improved our index retreat. We have the top ones, and then we have GDP, conversational prompts and customers, and it's a GDP model for. So we put the model GDP4, and we did get the GDP model generated and on the taxi from the questions that we asked for the quickest downtown, and then that worked out pretty good. So that's how that works, and now we're going to the next one. On the next one, we utilize Gen LLM, Meta LLM for taxi route optimization. On this one, you use LLM model, and you name it LLM-2, the ones we use, and we can use any of those. And then you create a llama model generated on a prompt suggesting the most fuel efficient route for taxi based on the following retrieved context. And then we got that from through the the retrieve data, and so that's how it works. So then the Gen AI Google Palm, easy to work with in code and behavioral insights. So you set up the Palm model, and you get a model, and you have a model named Palm-2, and you have the behavioral analysis Palm model generates a prompt based on the question, and so there you go, you got that thing built up, and then we fine tune with the LLMs with uh, RLHF and LoRa and Perf. And so how we did that is we had the training transformers we imported, and then we have the Llama for casual LMs and pre-chained Llama 2, and also for the Llama tokenizer, that was the next one. And so that's how that gets set up. It's pretty easy to do, and I can help out with that role as well. Next, we have the generative AI taxi fine-tuning, more details on fine-tuning perf and LoRa. So the perf and the LoRa configurations need a perf model, and the pre-trained model that we need is going to be a JSON configuration. It's called perf configure, and it's a JSON. And then the generative AI data LLM perf training arguments and training is next, and then we had to do the training for that. We get the output, showing what try and fine tune LLMs we have and the epics and batches and things like that. And we got to save all the steps and maintain all the logs and everything else. So it's all in there. And then the trainer, it basically gets the training for the model and uses the perf model and the arguments, and then it gets the train data, and then you got the trainer to train, and there you go. And then generative AI integrations with RAG on the workflow, and this workflow is a retrieval argument generation. It puts in the GP model that we put in earlier, and it has the index, and it provides the RAG chain run input to provide the optimized routes and customers, and that's basically how that works. Now we're going to go talk about how we did this. Now, basically, what we did is on the conversational prompts, these city initiatives in Africa, they were used Pinecone vector database for real-time data and GDP conversational prompts and Google Palm for prompts and enhanced customer support, and Meta Llama for fuel efficient and traffic optimized routes and insights, driving a seamless and efficient transportation experience for customers and taxi drivers. The key thing is we had a Pinecone retriever. It retrieved real-time data and customer clusters and dynamic analysis for traffic and pickup times and locations and destinations. GDP conversational prompts created customer chats to answer queries about taxi routes, customer locations, optimize the path to the customer location, and plan taxi delivery trips for customer location. and also allow incentives for customer retention that the taxi could offer. And then Llama route optimization generates insights for fuel efficient and optimized routes. And that's how we could get incentives too. Finally, we have the generative behavior fine-tuning prompts. This is where Sari Taxi Initiative in Africa leveraged Google Palm for behavioral analysis and identified high demand areas, fine-tuning LLMs and tailored to performance and integrating RAG workflows to optimize taxi operations and customer engagements with real-time insights. So Google Palm behavioral analysis is a pattern in customer behavior to identify high demand areas and peak times. And then the fine tuning with RLFH and Laura and Perth customized our LLMs for Asarfi, ensuring high performance in prompts and efficiency on the Google Palm as well as the GDP prompts. And then finally, the RAG workflow blends the real-time retrieval of generative AI to provide actionable outputs and displays for taxi operations and customer engagements. These are the things that can help with this role, and contact me, Matthew Zeta. Bye.